Most people think discipline is about punishment. But what if it's actually the secret to unlocking your wildest dreams? I just lived it for 90 days. Seriously, for the last 3 months, I committed to a no-excuses daily discipline system that pushed me way past my comfort zone. Before this, I was stuck, feeling directionless, hitting snooze more often than hitting goals. But what started as a grueling challenge ended up completely rewriting my habits, my mindset, and honestly, my entire future. And today, I'm pulling back the curtain on every single step, every stumble, and every breakthrough from those intense 90 days. Let's be real, life before this 90-day sprint felt a lot like being stuck in quicksand. I had big dreams, sure, but my daily reality was a messy cycle of procrastination, half-hearted attempts, and the constant hum of, "I'll start tomorrow." I'd wake up, scroll social media for an hour, drag myself to work, come home, collapse on the couch, and wonder why I felt so drained and unfulfilled. I was constantly chasing my tail, perpetually feeling like I was behind, always promising myself that this week, this month, things would be different. But they never were. I was tired of feeling like I was constantly letting myself down, day after day. Then, one particularly frustrating evening, after failing to hit a single goal I'd set for myself that morning, it hit me. Something needed to radically shift. It wasn't about willpower. My willpower was a flickering candle. It was about building a system, a framework that would force me to show up, even when I didn't want to. I stumbled upon this idea of a 90-day discipline sprint, a commitment to a set of non-negotiable daily actions for a full 3 months. The idea was simple but terrifying. What if I actually tried? What if I actually committed? My system wasn't about becoming a robot, but about establishing a few core habits that, if done consistently, I believed would snowball into bigger changes. I didn't want to overwhelm myself, so I picked 3 main pillars that I felt were missing from my life. First, daily movement, a 30-minute workout every single day. No excuses. Could be a walk, a run, push-ups, anything to get my blood pumping. Second, focused learning. Spend 20 minutes reading a non-fiction book or learning a new skill online. No mindless YouTube binges. Third, early rise and mindful start. Wake up by 6 a.m., no phone for the first hour, and instead, journal for 10 minutes. The non-negotiable rule was key. No matter what, these things had to get done. Period. If I missed a day, I'd have to reset to day 1. That was the scary part, the accountability mechanism. To track it, I used a simple wall calendar, crossing off each day with a big, satisfying X. This was my blueprint, my commitment to myself. The first week felt like I was dragging a piano up a hill, backwards in the mud. The initial excitement quickly wore off, replaced by a brutal internal resistance. My brain screamed for comfort, for the snooze button, for the familiar dopamine hit of social media. Waking up at 6 a.m. felt like a physical assault. My body ached from the workouts, and my mind rebelled against focused reading, preferring to drift off into fantasy. I had to white-knuckle it through those first few days. There were moments, many of them, where I wanted to quit. It's just too hard. One day won't matter. This is stupid, my inner critic whispered constantly. But the fear of having to reset to day 1, of admitting failure to myself, was just strong enough to keep me going. Small victories kept me afloat. Successfully crossing off day 5 felt like a superpower. Finishing a workout when every fiber of my being wanted to give up was a small battle won. I learned quickly that the toughest part wasn't the activities themselves, but consistently showing up. It was a daily wrestling match with my old self. Somewhere around day 35, things started to shift. The resistance didn't vanish entirely, but it certainly softened. It stopped being a constant battle and started becoming a rhythm, like a song I was slowly learning to dance to. Waking up early became less painful. Sometimes I'd even stir before my alarm, not because I had to, but because my body just expected it. The workouts felt less like a chore and more like a necessary release of energy. Reading actually became something I looked forward to, a quiet moment of growth before the day began. I started noticing the changes beyond just completing the tasks. My energy levels were higher, and not just in the mornings. My focus sharpened at work. I felt less anxious, more in control. It was like I was slowly chipping away at a massive block of ice, and underneath, a clearer, more capable version of myself was emerging. I even started to feel a strange pride, a quiet confidence blooming inside. This wasn't just about doing the things, it was about building self-trust brick by brick. Every crossed-off day was a promise kept to myself. This is where the real magic happened. By the time I hit the 60-day mark, the disciplined actions were no longer a struggle. They were just what I did. They became automatic, ingrained. Discipline wasn't restrictive anymore. It was liberating. I had more mental energy because I wasn't constantly debating with myself. I simply executed. The benefits compounded in ways I hadn't even imagined. My sleep quality improved drastically. My decision-making became sharper because I was operating from a place of clarity and control, not just reacting to impulses. My relationships felt stronger because I was more present. I started tackling bigger projects that I'd been putting off for years, suddenly confident in my ability to see them through. It wasn't just about the push-ups or the reading. It was about showing up for myself every single day and proving to myself that I was capable of so much more than I ever believed. The person who started that challenge, full of doubt and hesitation, was gone, replaced by someone who trusts themselves, who knows they can commit and follow through. So, what happened to my life after 90 days of relentless discipline? Everything. My energy levels soared, my focus sharpened, my confidence went through the roof. I started tackling projects I'd put off for years. It taught me that real freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about having the discipline to create the life you truly desire. It's about building the habits that serve your highest self, not just your immediate comfort. This wasn't a quick fix. It was a foundational shift. It changed how I view challenges, how I view myself, and what I believe is possible. If I can do it, starting from that quicksand of procrastination, anyone can. If you're curious about how to actually build these kinds of habits for yourself, you won't want to miss my next video detailing the exact daily routine I followed.